I'm having 14 years of experience overall, in which
Okay.
6 years into sales and distribution, and rest all experience into utilities. And I worked in electricity utilities and water utilities. And currently I'm working in water utilities.
Okay.
And worked in regulated market, deregulated market, domestic market, international market. So I got an opportunity to work with most of the clients.
Okay.
So before starting our session, I just want to have your introduction so that I can mark up myself from where I need to start.
Yeah, Venkat. From my side, till now I have experience on SAP ABAP. I work for different modules like SD and MM. Till now, I didn't have any idea on ISU.
So you already have a background of SAP.
Yes, I have idea on SAP. I have 3 years of experience.
Okay, that sounds good. So I need now to start from what is R3, what is R3 modules, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's start our session. Let me share my screen. So are you able to see the screen?
Yes, Venkat.
Okay. So I'm skipping. Let me give you an introduction on utilities.
Okay.
So as you're already aware of SAP R3 system, right? So we have
Yes.
64 plus modules like
Yes.
FICO, MM, SD, WM, PP, PM, right?
Yes, Venkat.
So the basic R3 is not changed. That will be there and that is there forever.
Okay.
So as per the requirement of industries, if you go to R3, implementation of R3 for a specific industry is a little harder because we need to find out what are the solutions we have and we need to customize our own R3 system according to the client requirement.
Okay.
So what SAP did is it took the major industries, or you can say a Fortune 500, and they did a research on those things and they finalized some of the business processes specific to a particular industry. And they came up with a solution called industry specific solutions.
Okay.
So each industry specific solution is designed for a particular industry sector.
Okay.
So in the same way, SAP has designed approximate 18 different industry specific solutions. So if you name it like for retail industry, we came up with a solution, IS industry specific solution for retail, industry specific solution for pharmaceuticals, industry specific for telecommunication, right? In the same way, they came up with a solution for utilities. So one of
Okay.
the industry specific solution is utility industry. And whenever we say utility industry, what do you mean by utility industry? Any idea?
Yeah. It's mostly on water, electricity, and gas management, distribution, like generation, transformation, distribution, and service.
Yes. So whenever we say utilities, it's a generalized word which includes 5 different industries.
Okay.
So in generalized words, like in a day-to-day life, the utilities comes as one as electricity, two as a water, three as a gas. And whenever you say gas, it should not be a gas, oil and gas. It's just a gas supplied to your residential or a commercial houses.
Okay.
But whereas if you go with oil, they have a different industry specific solution called oil and gas. The
Okay.
oil and industry specific solution for oil and gas is for the manufacturing companies like oil, what do you say, pulling oil from different sources, right?
Mm.
Airlines industry, so, for example.
Yes.
For those sort of companies, we use oil and gas. But when it comes to utilities, gas in the sense supplying it to a particular customer, either it can be a residential or a commercial customer.
Okay.
So these three, and the fourth one is waste management,
Okay.
and the fifth one is multimedia. And when we say multimedia, it can be your internet, it can be your cable TV, right? Nowadays, everyone is aware of dish TV, right?
Yes.
So those dish TV or internet, Wi-Fi, everything comes under utility.
Okay.
But when it comes to implementation, every industry has their own specifications. Like water, it has its own. Electricity, it has its own. Multimedia, it has its own. But they can use the same application, utilities.
Okay.
Okay. Now, when
Yeah.
it comes to utilities, as in R3, we come across different types of modules. Like majorly there are three applications like financial applications, logistics, and human resources. Whereas
Yes.
when it comes to utilities, we have five different modules. So the major one is device management. Second one is work management. Third one is your billing engine, that is billing and invoicing. And the the next one is financial accounting.
Okay.
In R3, we call it as FICO because there are two different applications, right? Two different modules in a financial application, right? Financial accounting and controlling.
Yes.
Whereas in utilities, we call it as FICA, financial accounting, contract accounts, receivables, and payables.
Okay.
So the same FICA, you can refer it back to insurance company like IS Insurance, IS Retail, IS Telecommunication. All these things they use FICA, not FICO.
Okay.
Okay. And the last one, but not the least one, it's customer services. When you refer to R3, customer service is a part of plant maintenance, like service notifications, generation of service notifications, closing service notifications, all these things. But at a later point, when it comes to ECC6, they replace it with CRM, customer relationship management. So if you refer back to CRM has multiple modules, right? Like you have pre-sales, sales, then services. So that service part is taken care into customer services. Clear? Hello? Hello? Hey Sunil, are you able to hear me? Hello. Hello. Hello.
Yeah.
Are you able to hear me now?
Yeah, Venkat, I am able to hear you.
Okay. So when it comes to modules, device management. So before discussing about all these modules, we need to discuss about industry, utility industry.
Okay.
I mean, we can take an example of electricity utility, or we can take an example of water utility.
Okay.
For your convenience, let's go with electricity. So in electricity, majorly three different structures play together to provide electricity to our customers.
Okay.
So as you earlier, as you mentioned that when you go with electricity, there are three different components. One is an electricity generation company. Second one is transmission and distribution company. And the third one, we call it as a retail company. So when we discuss about these three things, we need to discuss about a component called regulated and deregulated market.
Okay.
So when you go with regulated market, distribution, transmission distribution, and retail will be taken care by the same company.
Yeah.
And you don't find a competitor in electricity provided areas.
Okay.
Wherein a deregulated market, transmission and distribution will be taken care by one company, and the retail will be taken care by multiple companies. That means you can have a multiple competitors. Wherein generation by default is a deregulated one. Whoever have a capacity, they can generate electricity, like using a different sources. It can be solar energy, it can be wind, or it can be hydro, or it can be a thermal, right?
Yes.
So example, if you take India market as an example, are you from which area you are from?
Yeah, I am from Andhra Pradesh, Telangana.
Very,
Both.
very good,
Yeah.
very good. So we can have a best example.
Yeah.
So if we take Telangana as an example,
Mm-hmm.
so you have electricity company which
Okay.
is Transco, right? Genco and Transco,
Yeah.
and you have another one called Central Power Corporation Distribution Limited,
Yeah.
right? There are three companies.
Yeah.
Genco is mainly meant for a generation of electricity through a different sources. Either they can generate it or they can buy it from different sources.
Okay.
Whereas Transco is mainly responsible for transmission and distribution the power to the customers.
Okay.
Whereas Distribution Corporation Limited is collecting the meter read and generate a bill and collect the revenue, collect the amount from a customer.
Okay.
So indirectly what we are saying is the revenue generation company is your distribution company.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So all these
Got it.
three together, they have to work so that we can provide electricity to a particular customer.
Okay.
In these cases, everything is taken care by the same company, that is by the same government, right? Now it is
Yes.
in Telangana state. So those areas we call it as regulated market. Everything is taken care under one control.
Yes.
Wherein if you take example in Mumbai, apart from Mumbai Electricity Board, there are two other players who are providing electricity to the residents of Mumbai. One
Okay.
is Tata Power and the second one is Reliance Power.
Okay.
So in these cases, Maharashtra Electricity Board is the main one. Generation and they're taking care of it. Transmission and distribution, your Maharashtra Board is taking care of it. Whereas
Okay.
Tata Power and Reliance Power, they are playing as a retail company.
Mhm.
Okay. So the
Yeah.
advantage with the retail, deregulated market is as a customer, you'll have multiple choices. As a customer, you have a choice that you can select a service provider.
Okay.
Same as your mobiles. Like you have multiple options, right? Either you can choose Airtel or Zio, or you can select Vodafone, or you can select Tata, right?
Yes.
So that is called deregulated market.
Okay.
Clear? Now,
Yeah.
so if you divide these three things, forget about generation company because as we said, generation is mainly targeting on how to generate the electricity.
Okay.
And their main target will be how much we can generate, how many kilowatts we can generate, or how many megawatts we have to generate.
Okay.
But once they generate the power, so as a generation company, they generate in megawatts or kilowatts, right?
Yes.
So when it comes to a residential customer or a commercial customer, the usage will be in kilowatt hour. Like the supply what we give it to a residential customer is 250 watts or 270 watts, right?
Yes.
And the maximum usage will be 100 kWh, 200 kWh.
Okay.
So you need to step down the power from megawatts or kilowatts to kilowatt an hour, kWh,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So that part is taken care by your transmission and distribution. The
Okay.
main purpose of a transmission is it will transport or it will transfer the electricity from a generation company to a nearby substation.
Okay.
So transferring or importing power from generation to a substation will be taken care by a transmission company.
Okay.
Now once it reaches to the substation, from that substation it should reach out to your transformer and from transformer to your pole or your device like your meter is taken care by your distribution company.
Okay.
And from there, your retail company will consider that device and it will collect the meter reads and it will calculate all your consumption.
Okay.
Clear?
Yeah.
Now, in this process, end-to-end process, if we concentrate only on the retail company, what are the modules we are going to use and why we are going to use those modules?
Okay.
So as a customer, if you are going to apply for a new connection, what is the process you follow? So normally you'll fill out the application and you'll try to submit that in your nearby electricity office, right?
Yes.
So there, a customer service representative will collect your application, he'll review that application, and then someone will come to your service address and he'll verify, and then he'll provide the electricity, correct?
Yes. Correct.
But if you look into the department, a customer representative who is representing a retail company, he'll just collect the application. In a back end, he has to submit that application to a distribution company, because distribution company is the one who is responsible for your device connectivity and disconnection.
Okay.
Nothing to do with your retail company. Retail company is just to get the consumption and bill it.
Yeah.
So as a retail company, once I receive the application, I'll send it back to the distribution company, and a representative from, or we can say field staff, of a person from field staff will get that application, will come to your service address, will verify it, will look for the device. If we don't have device, they'll install the device. That is your
Okay.
meter,
Yes.
right? So all this is a process. So in this, if it is a retail company and you are dealing with a deregulated market, then we may have to go with marketing and sales.
Okay.
Whereas in a regulated market, we don't have to deal with any marketing and sales, obviously, because you are the only player. I have no
Okay.
other option, right?
Yes.
Whereas in deregulated, everyone tries to attract their customers, so they have to go with the marketing and sales. If you want to implement marketing and sales, the one option is you have to go with your CRM.
Okay.
Or there is another option called ISU CCS, Customer Care and Services.
Okay.
But nowadays we are not using customer care and service. We are fully depend on CRM, because
Yeah.
CRM came up with a web UI, right? Web
Yes.
applications.
Yeah.
So more advanced version. And second one is your premise entry installation services.
Okay.
So when it comes to premise entry and installation services, we call it as technical master data.
Okay.
Let me simplify this. In a layman's language, a service address is called premise address or premise entry.
Okay.
Let's take the same example. If you are trying to apply for a connection, so you have to give your address, right? Where do you want the connection?
Yes.
So that address is represented as premise entry or premise address in IS Utilities.
Okay.
Further, we'll discuss what is premise, what is connection object, how we represent your service address in SAP IS Utilities. But for now,
Yes.
premise address is your premise entry.
Okay.
And next is, once you have a connection and you started using your electricity, so you are expecting a monthly bill, right? So once you get
Yes.
connection, every month you are expecting a bill. So to get a bill, your retail company has to collect the meter read every month.
Okay.
But as a retail company, as I said, they are not responsible for your device. They are not responsible anything. So every month they'll send information to your distribution company, and the distribution company representative will come and collect the meter read every month on a specific time.
Okay.
So once they receive that meter read, they'll send it back to retail company.
Yes.
So last month we already received your meter read. This month also we received your meter read. So current meter read minus previous meter read is your consumption.
Yes.
How many units you used it. And based on the contract with the customer, whatever the price we finalize, consumption multiplied by price is your bill. And there are multiple charges like service initiation fee, late payment charges, dunning charges, miscellaneous charges, taxes, everything will be added in your invoice.
Okay.
So once you get the consumption, how you're going to calculate your bill is taken care by your billing, demise billing, service billing. Why there is a difference is bill. Whenever you say billing, we have to deal with two things: billing and invoicing. Okay.
Okay.
So there's two different things. You cannot combine these two. Whenever you say billing and invoicing, there are two different things. The reason is bill is for a particular service. Invoice is a collection of all the services.
Okay.
Let's say example, if you go with a company who provides electricity, water and gas. I mean, in India we don't have that provision, but let's assume that one of the company they are providing three services:
Okay.
electricity, water and gas. So when it comes to billing, you'll receive a bill for water separately, electricity separately and gas separately, because they have a different calculation formula, they have a different price range.
Yes.
But while sending it to a customer, I can combine all these three into one sheet and I can send one document to the customer. Right?
Yes.
I don't have to send a different invoice, a different document to the same customer address. So what I do is I'll combine all these three things into one sheet and one form, and I can send it to a customer. That is called invoicing.
Okay.
Technically speaking, a bill can be modified anytime, but an invoice cannot be modified. The reason behind that is a bill document will not have an impact on financials. Like it will not be posted in any financial transactions.
Okay.
But once you generate the invoice, your accounting account ledgers will be updated with the values. General ledger accounting process. So all the general ledgers will be updated once the invoice is generated. So if you want to modify the invoice, first you need to reverse the entries in your general ledger, then you have to reverse your invoice, then you can modify your bill document. That's where we suggest not to reverse the invoice, because you'll have a reversal entry in general ledger postings.
Okay.
Okay. Now, so
Yeah.
clear with invoicing.
Yeah.
Next is once you generate an invoice, it will go and post into a general ledger account. That means accounts receivables is ready now.
Okay.
So you have to collect it from the customer. From there, you have multiple things. Like if you have 100 customers, you cannot expect 100 customers to behave in the same manner. Like few customers, they pay within stipulated time before the due date. Few customers, they pay on due date, right?
Yes.
And in every area will get a defaulters. Even if you send a reminder, they may not pay your bill. So the question is, how do we handle those customers? Like how many times we are going to remind, at what time we are going to charge additional charges. So everything will be taken care by your financial accounting, contract accounts, receivables and payables.
Okay.
Clear?
Yeah.
Now, so when you go back, one step back. So we were discussing about your device, your transformer, your substations, everything, right?
Yes.
So if you are implementing a SAP IS Utilities for a regulated market wherein your distribution and retail is taken care by the same company. In that
Okay.
case, all your equipment is your material, anything being used in electricity. Either it can be a distribution like your poles, your wires, your transformers, substation equipment, everything is an equipment.
Yes.
So when you deal with these things, you have to maintain the stock availability, where you are storing those things, what the cost of those things, everything, right?
Yes.
And how much stock you are maintaining, how much material you are sending out of your warehouse. So all these things will be taken care by device management.
Okay.
So there is a module called device management.
Okay.
So in simple words, your device installation, device removal, device inspection, disconnection, reconnection, everything will be taken care by device management.
Device management.
Okay.
Yeah.
Apart from these things, a regular activity of a device management is collecting the meter read from a device.
Okay.
So this is their daily activity. So
Okay.
daily they have to go and collect the meter read from a specific set of customers and upload that meter read into a SAP system.
SAP system.
Now, once you receive the meter read, then your billing and invoicing will kick off. And your responsibility of a billing consultant is a rate design. Like each charge, we call it as a rate.
Okay.
Like if you see the electricity bill, will have different charges. Like what do you say, consumption charge, or then you have device charge or rent, device rent. Then you'll have surcharge, and sometimes they impose taxes like regular tax on education sales, blah 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 blah. Right? So
Yeah.
each line is called one charge. Okay.
Yes.
So those charges in utilities we call them as rates. Each charge
Okay.
is a rate.
Okay.
So as a billing and invoicing consultant, the main responsibility is we need to define those rates. Like how you're going to calculate the values, what are the formulas you're going to use, how you're going to get the consumption. Do we have a specific reason to split the consumption? Like in US,
Okay.
what we do is whatever the consumption we are going to get, we'll get it in 15 minutes of intervals.
Okay.
Because almost all we use smart meters. So every 15 minutes we get the consumption. And we do have a provision here, like whatever the consumption you're going to get, we split them into 3 tiers. Like because we have an offer, 3 nights. So whatever
Okay.
you use after 9 o'clock till morning 6 o'clock, it's free.
Okay.
So that means as a billing consultant, you should be in a position to differentiate the consumption based on the time frame, right?
Okay. Yes.
So in your rate calculation, how you're going to use that formula, how you're going to differentiate the consumption, how you're going to differentiate the time frame, everything you need to take care of as a billing and invoicing consultant. And the last one is your financial accounting, accounts receivables and payables. So how we are going to calculate your charges is one part. Once we calculate it, how we are going to post that into a general ledger accounts, what are the general ledger accounts you are going to maintain, how many types of accounts you are going to maintain, how many functional areas you are going to maintain, everything is taken care by your FICA consultant. Apart from that, if a customer is a defaulter, how you are going to handle it. So in financial accounting, again we have different sub-modules called gunning and correspondence, payments, receivables and payables.
Okay.
um, collection agencies, security deposits. All these things will be taken care by your FICA consultant.
Okay.
Clear?
Yeah.
So this is what we discussed. Like, if you want, we can go ahead again. So anything which is in utilities, any of the utilities, the first
Okay.
step, it starts with your customer service, customer relationship management.
Okay.
So that's what we took an example, right? As a new customer, if you are trying to apply for a new connection, you'll approach the customer service and you'll fill out your application, you'll hand it over to the customer service representative.
Okay.
So once they do all those things, background checks and everything, if they are ready to give you a connection, in utilities, we call it as move in.
Okay.
Don't worry, we'll discuss all those things. So in customer service, we'll come across move in, move out, transfer, switch, swap. So these are the different terms what we use.
Okay.
So the customer is moving into one address. First time he is requesting a service in one address. That is called move in.
Okay.
Let's say he is done with the premise. He is moving. I mean, he just going out of that premise, and he doesn't want our services in that premise or address.
Okay.
That is called move out.
Okay.
In some cases, what happens is you already took a connection, but you are changing your address. Now you have taken a connection in address 1. Now we are moving to address 2.
Another. Okay.
So what we do is, instead of moving out the customer, we will simply transfer that connection to address 2.
Okay.
So that is called transfer.
Okay.
And within these things, there are so many things like move in out, move in. That means a customer is already residing in address A. Someone else has requested to move in on the same address.
Okay.
So once we verify, what we do is we'll move out the existing customer and we'll move in this new customer.
Okay.
So that is called move out, move in.
Okay.
I mean, these situations we don't find in India, but whereas in US, even if you take apartment on a rent, electricity should be on your name.
Okay.
Whereas in India, even if you take a rent, the main connection will be on the owner's name, right?
Yes.
But whereas in US, if you are taking an apartment on rent, either apartment or a house, electricity connection should be on your name.
Okay.
That's the default. So here we normally use move out, move in.
Okay.
Okay. And swap is, as it is a deregulated market, you may have different varieties of options. Like
Okay.
in one case, you can say free nights. Other option is you can have free weekends, right? Other option
Yeah.
is you can have peak rate, non-peak rate. So as a customer, you can choose which uh, offer you want.
Okay.
So let's say example, initially when I moved in, I took off-peak rate, and later I
Okay.
found free nights is good enough, then off-peak rate. So I can
Okay.
request for a swap.
Okay.
Okay, so these are the different business scenarios. Don't worry, we'll go through all those things again. So all these things will be taken care by your customer services.
Okay.
Next is your work management. So as I said earlier, whenever we get a new connection, Customer representative responsibility is only to collect the application,
Yes.
and he'll hand it over to the device management team or your distribution company, and the
Yeah.
representative from distribution company will go and verify the address, and he'll do whatever he want, connection or reconnection, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
So those things, how do we communicate with other person, is taken care by your work management.
Okay.
So any communication to the technicians or a field staff is called service orders.
Okay.
Let's say move in is one service order, move out is one service order, meter read is one service order, disconnection is one, reconnection is one, right?
Yes.
Inspection is one. So these sort of service orders we keep on creating.
Okay.
So once you trigger the service order, it will go through a work management and it will be allocated to the responsible person, and he'll collect that and he'll go and do the field work.
Okay.
So that will be taken care in work management.
Okay.
Next is your device management. As I said, sorry, device management is mainly responsible for your device.
Yes.
So device installation, removal, replacement, certification, inventory, everything will be taken care by your device management. Apart from that, they have to take care of your meter reads, meter read
Okay.
routes, how to collect the meter read, when to collect the meter read, right?
Okay.
And next is your billing and invoicing. Billing and invoicing, the main purpose is creating rates, creating, maintain tariffs, rules, prices, discounts, everything.
Yes.
And next is your FICA. FICA will be taken care by your payments, terms and conditions, method of payments, right? Postings, how to post your
Yes.
general ledger accounts, receivables, dunning, collection agencies, and difference.
Okay.
Any idea what is different?
For which one, Venkat?
Normally, any idea what is difference?
No, no, Venkat.
So let's take an example. Let's assume that invoice has been generated with a specific time. Normally
Okay.
what we do is, in utility company there is a default rule. Once you receive the invoice, you'll get 15 days to pay the invoice.
Okay.
So after 15 days, your dunning will kick off.
Okay.
That means your reminders will start. So
Okay.
you can set the reminder like before the due date you can set it, or after the due date also you can set it.
Okay.
So if you take an example of your telecommunication, they'll send, keep on sending the reminders, right? Your due date is so
Yes.
and so, please pay that bill by due date.
Yes.
So all those called dunning activities.
Okay.
So let's assume that your due date is on 15th and by mistake you missed that date.
Okay.
So immediately your dunning will kick off, and they'll say within 2 days if you're not going to pay, we impose 3% of late payment charge, 1.5%, whatever, right? To avoid
Yes.
that 1.5% or 3% penalty, customer can call back the service agent or customer service to defer the date.
Okay.
So you are supposed to pay on 15th, right? So you can defer the
Yes.
date saying, okay, give me 1 week time, I'm going to pay it.
Okay.
So what they do is they'll defer the due date,
Yes.
so that you should not get your, they should not impose late payment charges on your account.
Okay.
That is called deference. Simple thing is you are changing the due date.
Yes.
But there are rules that you can request to defer the date only twice in a year.
Okay.
I mean, you can set those rules, but normally in utility company, what they do is they'll restrict it to 2 or 3 times you can defer.
Okay.
Clear? So these are the modules which we are going to cover. So
Okay.
from my end, I don't want to restrict you to a particular module.
Okay.
What I do is I'll take one business process, like starting from your move-in,
Okay.
ending with your dining activities.
Yeah.
So which
Yeah,
includes
Venkat.
all your, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. I'm going into a like migration project on ISU. Do I need to learn all these modules? And what would be the actual work process in the migration projects?
So
In
migrating
that.
in from legacy system to IS utility or,
Yes.
okay. So as a technical person, yes, you have to.
Okay.
I mean, you don't have to learn everything, but you need to know everything.
Okay. Are you going to cover the topic like Amigal tool, which is used for migration?
That's only a data migration. Why you are worried about it? Of course, I'll take care of it, but just for your information, that's only a data
Okay.
migration.
Yeah.
I'll take care of it.
Yeah.
So from our end, we are going to cover, I mean, I may not be able to show you in CRM, but the same activities I'll show you in back office,
Okay.
like
Will you
moving.
provide system access?
System access will be taken care by Giridhar.
Okay.
He'll take care of everything.
Yeah. Okay.
So from my end, I can give you training material and
Mhm.
there's recordings.
Yeah. Okay.
So any questions for me?
No, Venkat. Up to now, I'm good.
Okay, so can we conclude it here?
Yeah.
So that's what we discussed till now. Like this is called commercial life cycle. How to get a meter read, how to generate a bill, how we'll post it to our financial accounting, and how our
Okay.
customer service will take care of it. So this is what
Yeah.
I was saying.
One more.
All these things will be covered in our training.
Okay. One more thing. I looked at while doing Google. What is about a regional structure in ISU?
A regional structure is the key address management. In simple
Okay.
words, a layman's language, we call it as address management.
Okay.
So, for example, if you take your residential address, normally in India, we maintain your name, or son of, a daughter of. Then, if it is an apartment, we'll say flat number and apartment name, then plot number, then street, then city, sometimes district, right? And then state
Yes.
and your postal code.
Yeah.
So if you distribute that into utilities, your postal code, city, district, and your address, I mean your plot number, flat number, whatever.
Yes.
Apart, these things are called postal regional structure
Yes.
because everything will be taken care by your postal department.
Okay.
Your zip code or postal code, your district, I mean your state, your city, right?
Yes.
Whereas apart from that, if you see it in a geographical way, there is further segregation of your address. Like country has a state has a region, right? South, east, west, north, and each region will have districts, right? And each district will have cities, and in city you'll have street, in street you'll have postal codes,
Yes.
right? So state, I mean country, state, district, up to city, we call it as political regional structure.
Okay.
A simple word is how you're going to differentiate your service address. We call it as service address or service territory. As a utility company, we use a term called service territory.
Okay.
Simple thing is, if you take Telangana itself, are they providing electricity anywhere else apart from Telangana?
Oh.
No, right? So
Yeah.
that means indirectly what we are saying is, for Telangana Electricity Board, the service territory is Telangana borders.
Yes.
Within Telangana, you have multiple districts, right?
Yes.
And each district or Telangana has segregated into what do you say? I'm not sure about after the data, after the bifurcation. But if you look into Andhra, they'll say they distributed it into three different service areas:
Yes.
north, central, and south.
Yes.
Like APCPDCL is a central one.
Okay.
Andhra Pradesh state, what do you say? Central Power Distribution Corporation Limited.
Okay.
And APNPDCL is Northern Power Distribution Corporation Limited. So the complete
Okay.
state they divided into three service areas.
Okay.
And if you look into the central area, again a central area is divided into different districts.
Yes.
So all this setup is called a regional structuring.
Okay.
But
Got it.
in US everything is taken care by your postal department. So what they do is there is an application called Geotax.
Okay.
So they use, most of the companies they use Geotax instead of regional structuring.
Okay.
But we'll go through the regional structuring. Simple
Yeah.
thing is, in US the address management is taken care by your postal department, and they have an application called Geotax.
Okay.
So most of the companies they integrate with that Geotax. Address
Okay.
verification, address management, address maintenance, everything will be taken care by Geotax.
Okay.
And I think now in India they are trying to integrate with Indian Postal Service,
Okay.
because Indian Postal Service itself is going to implement SAP.
Okay.
So we'll go through that as well. How to define a regional structure, how to create a regional structure group,
Okay.
and how we are going to associate that regional structure group into our technical master data.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
So can we conclude it here?
Yeah. Sure, Venkat. Thank you.
I hope um, I explained it well.
Yes.
Looking forward to have a session.
Yeah. Sure.
Okay. Thank you so
Sure,
much.
Venkat. Yeah. Thank you, Venkat.